Have you noticed your body sending quiet signals that feel ordinary but may hold deeper meaning? You might think it is just aging, just fatigue, or just a change in appetite. But sometimes these simple shifts carry a weight we rarely recognize until it is too late. This video is about those moments, the whispers of the body that doctors from places like Johns Hopkins and Mayo Clinic have seen again and again in the months leading up to the end of life. The surprising truth is these signs are not always dramatic. They may look like more naps in the afternoon, a plate left unfinished at dinner, or a loved one choosing silence over conversation. Because these changes often seem so small, families dismiss them or misread them until a doctor finally explains what they mean. But when you understand the signals, you have a chance to bring peace, clarity, and comfort instead of confusion or regret. Recognizing these signs does not mean giving up. It means leaning into love, offering gentleness at a time when every quiet moment matters. Stay with me until the end, because the next few minutes may open your eyes in a way that changes how you see aging, care, and love in the most important chapter of life. Now, let's get started. Number 1, changes in sleep patterns. One of the first signs families often miss is when a senior begins to sleep much more during the day and stay restless or wide awake at night. At first glance, it looks like simple tiredness or perhaps a bad night's sleep. But in truth, it can be the body entering a different phase. Energy that once went to digestion, circulation, or even daily movement is slowly being conserved. And this shows itself in sleep cycles that shift dramatically. I remember Harold, an 81-year-old from Tennessee. For years, he loved his afternoon baseball replays on television. But one season, his daughter noticed he could not stay awake through the first inning. Within weeks, Harold was sleeping nearly 18 hours a day, wide awake at 2 or 3 in the morning, pacing quietly while the rest of the house slept. His family thought it was boredom or poor sleep habits, but later, doctors explained it was a sign that his body was preparing for the last chapter of life. Medical researchers from Harvard have found that as the body slows, the brain's internal clock begins to misfire. Day blends into night and normal rhythms fade. It is not a disorder in the usual sense, it is a signal. Families often respond with frustration, pushing for routines that no longer fit, when what is really needed is comfort and presence. So what can you do if you notice this? Start by keeping track of sleep in a small notebook. Count how many hours are spent resting at night and napping in the day. If it adds up to more than 15 or 16 hours daily for a week or longer, bring this observation to a doctor. Sometimes just naming the change can guide care in a gentler, more thoughtful direction. More importantly, shift how you respond. Instead of trying to wake your loved one or pressuring them to stay alert, sit beside them, read a few lines from the newspaper, or hold their hand. These small acts turn what looks like decline into a chance for meaningful connection. Recognizing this sign does not mean surrender. It means choosing to love wisely, sitting in quiet support while they rest longer than before. Number 2, loss of appetite. Another sign that often goes unnoticed is when a loved one slowly stops enjoying their meals. Families sometimes assume it is a passing mood, a change in taste, or perhaps a reaction to medication. But when a person begins leaving food on the plate, turning away from favorite dishes, or eating just a few bites before stopping, it can be a quiet message that the body is shifting into a new stage. Ethel, an 82-year-old from Michigan, baked apple pies every Sunday for over 60 years. But one autumn, her daughter noticed she barely touched her slice. The following week, she didn't ask about dessert at all. Within 2 months, Ethel had lost noticeable weight. While her family worried about depression, her doctors gently explained that her body was naturally letting go and conserving energy in its final season of life. Palliative care specialists from Mayo Clinic remind us that as the body nears its end, digestion becomes less of a priority. Energy is rerouted to keep the heart beating and the lungs working. Food, once a pleasure and necessity, becomes less important. It is not stubbornness nor sadness, but biology quietly at work. This shift can be difficult for families, especially when food has always been a symbol of care. Forcing meals may cause discomfort or harm. Instead, think smaller and gentler. Offer simple portions like a spoonful of mashed potatoes, a piece of soft fruit, or a bit of warm broth. Watch not with judgment, but with patience. Keep notes about how much they eat and share those with their doctor. Most importantly, remember that meals in these moments are less about calories and more about comfort. Love in these moments is not measured by an empty plate, but by the warmth of quiet companionship. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Number 3, social withdrawal. One more sign families often miss is when a loved one begins pulling away from the connections that once brought them joy. At first, it may look like tiredness or moodiness, but when someone who used to love phone calls, Sunday dinners, or chatting with neighbors suddenly becomes quiet and prefers long hours alone, it could be the body and mind beginning a natural process of letting go. Franklin, an 84-year-old from Ohio, never missed a Friday poker night. Then slowly he stopped attending, skipped calls from his grandson, and began keeping to himself. His daughter thought he was simply worn out, but doctors explained that this retreat was part of the body's preparation near life's end. Specialists at Johns Hopkins note that social withdrawal is not always depression. Sometimes it is an inward turning, a gentle shift where the spirit seeks quiet rather than company. What helps most is presence without pressure. Sit nearby with a book, play music they once loved, or simply hold their hand. A short hello or a warm touch can mean more than long conversations. They are not turning away from you, but turning inward to prepare in their own way. Number 4, conversations with the unseen. Another sign that often surprises families is when a loved one begins talking with people who have long since passed away or drifts between moments of clarity and moments that feel out of place. Vernon, an 86-year-old from Florida, sometimes softly spoke in the evenings. One night, his daughter heard him say, "Martha, I know you're here." Martha was his wife who had died 6 years earlier. His daughter worried it was dementia, but hospice nurses explained it was not unusual in the final chapter of life. According to specialists at the Cleveland Clinic, changes in the brain can cause people to recall vivid memories or sense the presence of loved ones who have gone before. While it may look like confusion, these experiences often bring comfort. Families sometimes make the mistake of correcting their loved one, but this can cause distress. A more loving response is to listen and treat those moments as gifts. Rather than seeing this as a loss of reality, it may be better understood as a sacred space between here and beyond. Number 5, loss of physical strength. One of the clearest signs that the body is entering its final phase is a sudden drop in strength. Everyday actions that once felt simple become unexpectedly hard. Carmen, an 83-year-old from Texas, had always cherished her morning routine. Then one spring morning, her daughter noticed she was struggling to push herself up from her chair. Soon she needed help walking to the bathroom. She hadn't suffered a fall and wasn't sick, but her body was shifting. Experts explain that in the final months, the body redirects energy to vital organs. Muscles, which require much energy, weaken. It is not laziness or lack of willpower. It is the body conserving what little energy it has left. Families may urge them to keep moving, but this can cause injury or frustration. What helps is a focus on safety and compassion, removing hazards, offering support, and prioritizing dignity over stamina. Number 6, changes in breathing patterns. Another powerful sign that life may be nearing its close is a change in breathing. Breathing may become shallow, then quick, or pause for long stretches. Raymond, a 79-year-old retired firefighter, showed this pattern in his final weeks. His wife Elaine noticed it most during naps. He would breathe quickly, then stop, leaving her terrified until he began again. Doctors explained this was part of a natural process known as Cheney-Stokes breathing. Though alarming to loved ones, it is rarely distressing to the person. The better path is comfort. Elevate the head with pillows, keep the room calm, or open a window for fresh air. Presence is the true medicine here, not panic, but reassurance. Number 7, emotional preparation and letting go. The 7th sign is not always seen in the body, but in the heart. Toward the later stages of life, many people begin expressing themselves in ways that show they are preparing emotionally and spiritually for closure. They may talk about regrets, reach out to old friends, or give away meaningful possessions. Lawrence, an 85-year-old from Nevada, demonstrated this shift. He called his brother after 15 years of silence and began giving away his old tools with stories attached. His daughter thought he was giving up, but his hospice nurse explained it was part of natural preparation. According to the National Institute on Aging, many nearing the end feel a strong desire to resolve unfinished matters and create peace. These acts are not about loss, but about legacy. They are opportunities for loved ones to listen, support, and receive wisdom wrapped in stories and keepsakes. Final thoughts. What we have explored together are not signs meant to frighten or overwhelm, but gentle reminders of the ways our bodies and spirits communicate when life is entering its final chapter. Each of the 7 signs we've discussed, changes in sleep, appetite, social connection, memory, strength, breath, and emotional preparation, are not random. They are signals of transition. Recognizing these signs is not about giving up hope, but about shifting the way we love and care. It allows us to bring comfort where there might otherwise be confusion, and presence where there might otherwise be frustration. Sometimes the most powerful act of care is simply staying close, listening, and letting the person know they are not alone. These moments may become the memories that bring comfort long after. Thank you for joining us today. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned and how you plan to use it in your life. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.